Hi, my name is Bernard Williams. Um, I'm born in Castlehane, Rock Hill community. My mom and dad was Sinclair and Daisy Williams. Um, Fast forward to when I finished, just before I finished high school, uh, I started cutting my brother's hair. And my reason how I got started with that, my dad used to be the community barber, and my brothers wanted their hair cut because they wanted to go off to play ball. And my brother said, well, why don't you cut our hair? And I told him, I said, well, I can't cut no hair. He said, you can't do no worse than your daddy do. So that's what got me started cutting hair. Then after a while, my dad came in one day and asked me about going off to school. And he took me to Durham, Bull City Barber College. And that's how I got started just doing the hair. I finished that schooling and I came back to Gore's Barbershop on North 4th Street. I worked with him for 9 years, and then I decided I wanted my own salon, and it became the Hair Doctors. And my Tim Gore, who I was working for, became my partner, and we endeavored into the Hair Doctors. We stayed there for 22 years as a barber and beauty salon. Now, it wasn't an easy road as that, because being a black man, young, I was 26 years old, I stopped and the guy wanted the building that we put the Hair Doctors in, the guy wanted $50,000 for it. I went to several banks at the time trying to get the loan. They wouldn't work with me. I went back to the owner and asked him would he finance it. And he said he would. And that's how I was able to get the building and get it up. So, but I found out a year or so later that Wachovia banker could have helped me, because he came in, I was in the restaurant across the street, and he recognized me. And he asked me, did I get the business going? I said, yeah, we got it up and going. He said, well, why don't you come back down to the bank and see what I can do for you? And I was upset now that I knew that he could have helped me when I first asked, but because of my skin and the situation, he wouldn't do it. So we ended up being there 22 years of the barber and beauty salon. And
The name?
the name of it was the Hair Doctors. And so we were very successful there until the highway came through with Smith Creek Parkway and took us out. But at the same time, I was already started working in the film business, doing hair for the film industry. So I ended up not only just doing barbering, I ended up doing the whole thing. I was doing women hair. I became a barber stylist, a hair stylist for the film industry. And I did that for 39 years, up until the present day. And that was a struggle also. When I first was introduced to that business, I liked it the first day, and I asked, how could I get more involved in this? And they said, well, you got to be in the union, and you got to do this, you got to take class. They gave me all kinds of excuses. And the first film that I worked on, Stumping at the Boy, a young man from California friended me, and he gave me once you pause.
I can't.
Once a guy from California befriended me, and he would give me some time to work on the film, and so that's what kept me in the industry. So 9 years go by, I'm still trying to get in the union, trying to be a part of the industry, and I was blessed to get on the show called Freedom Song with Danny Glover. Danny Glover helped me get in the union, because the union person tried to call and take my job because I wasn't in the union. They told Danny Glover, and he told them, type up a letter, I'll sign it. If they want them in the union, I recommend they take them in now. And that's how I got in the union. But it still was a struggle. I couldn't get any work here in Wilmington, North Carolina. And finally I moved my address to Atlanta and managed to get my time in, my numbers in so I could draw my pension and my retirement. And now 39 years later, I'm still the only black male in the whole state of North Carolina that's in the hair and makeup union. So, I mean, that's just a quick overall of what I've been through, but the struggle is real. And it's sad that we as the black nation don't understand that we need to be more energetic into creating our own businesses, and take care of our own selves, and be self-sufficient. We were that way back in 1898. Wilmington has a real bad history. That's when blacks were really excelling and had businesses, were doing well in Wilmington. But because of greed, of racism, and jealousy, all that was destroyed across the nation. There were 22 or 32 cities that got destroyed because of we being self-sufficient. So, but we can still rise from that if we just work together as a people and do what we need to do.
What stars you work for? What stars you work with? Movie stars you work with?
Danny Glover, Jasmine Guy, Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, the list just goes on and on. But I never, and then when it comes to the first, shoot, can't think of the name of the film now. But working the film business, you do it so long. Well, I've done it so long, I really can't remember all the names of the films. And my buddies asked me, what's the name of the film? I said, man, all I know is Paycheck. That's what I call all of them, Paycheck. I said, and working on these films, I've never got starstruck. You know, Danny Glover, for instance, he ended up coming to my home for dinner. He asked me, was there a restaurant here, a soul food restaurant here in Wilmington? And I told him I didn't know of one, and I said, but you're welcome to come to my home, we'll fix you up. And he ended up coming to my home for dinner.